does decent work mean to workers? Does it mean protection? Jobs? For BWI, it does, especially during difficult economic times. When millions of workers across all BWI sectors continue to lose their jobs, we cannot afford to go back to business as usual. Beating the crisis requires a regulated financial sector and a resurrected real economy through publicly generated jobs. Without decent jobs, there can be no sustainable long-term economic growth. Decent work means secure jobs and social benefits regardless of immigration status, gender, or age. Instead, in BWI industries, subcontracting chains, bogus self-employment, and informal work have become the norm due to globalization and neoliberal policies. BWI and its affiliates must, therefore, continue to push governments to implement policies that will stabilize rather than destabilize not just the global economy, but also each and every one of our communities. Take working conditions. They must be safe and healthy, no less. And yet, in some BWI industries, work sites, without exaggeration, resemble war zones. How can workers not fear for their lives with so many work site accidents that result in permanent injuries and fatalities? Decent work is also about respect and dignity. Employers must recognize that workers are humans, not commodities to be exploited and abused freely. Workers must never again be harassed, demoted, discriminated against, or terminated for exercising their fundamental right to organize trade unions. Yes, workers must remain strong, unified, and steadfast in ensuring their trade union and workers' rights. Simply, decent work is for all. It is for all workers, women and men, in both formal and informal economies, in wage employment or self-employment, migrant or national, working in fields, factories, offices, or even in their homes. The road to decent work is a just road that must be traveled by all. This is one cause that needs, but also benefits, everyone.
A week from now, workers throughout Europe will converge in Brussels and other European cities, calling for no to austerity and priority to jobs and economic growth. Europe has been one of the regions hit the hardest by the current economic crisis. In the construction industry alone, as of 2009, more than 1 million workers lost their jobs, and 2 million more are at risk of losing their jobs, homes, and benefits. Yet, instead of creating decent and sustainable jobs, governments across Europe are implementing austerity packages. These packages call for major reduction in public expenditure, which will have a long-term negative effect on economic growth, employment, and the future of a social Europe. On September 29, BWI and affiliates around the world will be in solidarity with the European workers. BWI supports a general strike of the building trade unions in Spain. Let's mobilize in the street, conduct work stoppages, and hold meetings with the goal of pushing governments to stop austerity measures. The time is now for you to take action. The G20 leaders meeting in South Korea in November is an event for which we should all mobilize and demonstrate against government solutions to the crisis. The crisis is far from over. Workers are experiencing massive unemployment, reduction of living standard, and exclusion of young women and workers from employment opportunities. It is important to retain a stimulus package that will protect and create jobs and growth. I call on you to support the trade union mobilization in Seoul. The time is now for you to take action. We must not forget that the attack against trade union rights continues. In Panama, Law 30 is the latest attempt to suppress the right to organize, strike, and freedom of association. Our members also continue to experience violence, imprisonment, and harassment in other countries like Colombia, Burma, Palestine, Philippines, and Zimbabwe. BWI is lodging a complaint at the ILO and Human Rights Council against the government of Panama. The time is now for you to take action. October 7th is World Decent Work Day. It is a day to take action. On this day, BWI will be joining the global labor movement in reminding the world that the workers should not be left behind in the frenzy over economic recovery packages. On this day, let us converge all our action and be part of the united mobilization for change. I call on you to demonstrate against your government, picket embassies, and join the various international solidarity campaigns. Visit the BWI website or call BWI office in your region. You can make a difference. Act now.